I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpn.fm to discover more.
I'm Lindsey Kraft.
I'm Ben Folds. And you're listening to
Theater
Podcast with Alan Seals. The Theater Podcast with Alan Seals.
The Theater Podcast with Alan Seals. The Theater Podcast with Alan Seals.
Alan.
Seals. The Theater Podcast.
Theater Podcast with Alan Seals.
Should I do my Marge Simpson?
Ass.
The Theater Podcast with Alan Seals.
I like that.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Theater Podcast. I'm your host, Alan Seals, and this episode is a deeply insightful, open, and creatively rich conversation with collaborative artists Lindsey Kraft and Ben Folds. They are currently bringing the new musical We've Been Here Before to the stage at Soho Playhouse, and this chat goes far beyond the standard process talk to explore the real psychology of making art. We dive into Ben's belief that 99% of creative work fails a fundamental pass-fail test, which is whether a piece actually needs to exist in the world out of sheer necessity. He shares a fascinating perspective on imposter syndrome, explaining why he views it not as an act of humility, but as an unfair emotional burden artists place on their audience. Dissect that one. Plus, Lindsey opens up about picking up the piano at 39 and discovering that music could uncover truths about her life long before words could. And we also unpack how Ben approaches narrative orchestration, treating individual instruments like live dramatic characters on stage. It's a grounded, insightful, and masterclass level look at vulnerability, creative risk, and what it truly takes to bring honest work to light. So make sure to do what you always do. Follow me online, spread the word, tell your friends. If you want to watch the video version of this, check Spotify or Patreon. And now everybody please enjoy this episode with Lindsey Kraft and Ben Folds.
Here you go. 1, 2, 3.
Today's guests are collaborative artists currently bringing in the new musical We've Been Here Before to the stage at Soho Playhouse. Lindsey Kraft is an actor, writer, and composer known for her roles on television in Grace and Frankie, Getting On, and The Big Bang Theory, as well as her playwriting work on Wedding Bash. Ben Folds is an acclaimed singer, songwriter, producer, author, and former frontman of Ben Folds 5, fun fact, there's only 3 of them, who has composed for film, television, and major orchestras around the world. On their current project, We've Been Here Before, Lindsey serves as writer and star, with Ben producing, music directing, and performing on stage. Lindsey and Ben, welcome to the Theater Podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for inviting me into your space today. And I guess we'll get started with, I want to dive straight into We've Been Here Before because I just saw it 48 hours ago. Wow. I guess for those listening, so I saw you, Lindsey, 2 days ago. Ben, I saw you 7 years ago.
Yes.
And I'll put the link to our first interview in the show notes.
Okay, cool.
And that was a hell of a lot of fun. But so the project, tell us about it. Why did you, Lindsey, did you start to write this on your own? And where did it become a tangible idea that needed to be on stage?
Well, I started writing it when I first started writing music, which was 2019. So I think I was 39, approaching 40. And I just started kind of hearing songs in my head. And I had written a sort of a monologue about my life a little bit and a story. And I had one song at the end, but just because it was part of the show.
Mm-hmm.
It was just part of and I performed it for like some girlfriends in my best friend's living room. And there was a feeling of like, there's something here. I don't know. There was a collective kind of sigh. And I felt like I was talking about something so specific, but it felt pretty universal as I was speaking. And one of my girlfriends said at the very end, she said, it would be great if you had more songs. I was like, well, I don't write songs. And she goes, well, you wrote that one. I said, yeah, that's true. But no, I don't really know what I'm doing. And then the pandemic happened and it just gave me the time to just explore. And
right.
Yeah, that's kind of the beginnings of it.
Well, the need to write the story, though, I always wonder, and Ben, this question for you too, of like just where you both come from in your writing inspiration. And I know it's a cliche of like, oh, what inspires you to write? But like, what do you feel the need to have to write about? And like, so why did this turn into your show? And like for you on the music side, you know?
Well, for me, it was like, to me, the musical wrote me. I wasn't intending on, I want to write a musical. that never even remotely crossed my mind. But I started to have to get these songs out so that I mean, there's a line in the show that says the songs knew the truth before I did.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so true for me because I was just writing what I had to express. And I didn't think that I could get it out through just words. It was like there were melodies behind what I was feeling. And that led me to be at the piano 10 to 12 hours a day, just like kind of like in a trance of hitting the same.
But you've only played piano for 5 years, is
Yeah.
that right? So, okay. So you're plunking this out, teaching yourself while you're writing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's pretty crazy, but to me, it just felt so normal. I was like, and it wasn't like it just happened overnight. I was working so hard and just then I was on YouTube, like just wormholes of just learning chords and different things. And then I started taking piano lessons, as many as I could afford, and composing lessons and piano lessons and voice lessons, and just like trying to get what was in my heart and my soul into something that was reality.
And when did you know that you truly had something that needed to be, that was, that needed to be on stage or that could be on stage? Because like I have lots of ideas that keep me up at night too, but none of them are good enough to like put in front of somebody else.
Well, I kind of was just pretty brave about it from the beginning. Like I would perform at any airport piano that I saw, any hotel piano, and I would just perform doing Instagram lives.
Huh.
And people were responding to it. And I was like, and I wasn't very good. I was just expressing myself, and I just wanted to keep sharing what I was writing, and people were just responding to it. So I just just kept following that sparkle, you
That's
know?
interesting. And so obviously, Ben, you responded to what she was writing because
Yeah.
you agreed to get it involved with this.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's while it's there's plenty of stuff out there. I don't know if plenty, but we all know of really good pieces, really good songs that they don't have to be out there, and we don't have to see them. You know, that like they are good, and I think especially in a longer career, you know, you'll see an arc of someone. Let's just look at Johnny Cash. You know, like probably years and years of stuff that he didn't need to do, still good. People didn't need to hear. They loved him, and you know, one out however much, but over the course of a long time and looking at a large body of work, you know, you see or hear the rare piece that had to be made, you know. And so I think that all of us who have been someone who's been making songs for a long time really appreciates that nugget. So you're like, oh, this has to be made. This is a story that has to be told. And I think in this era, people are people, not artists, like punters. Your average person is more and more responsive to a piece that needs to be made, maybe because there is something in the air that tells us that things may not be good in a while. You know, like the world may not be the safest place to be, and you may not have complete freedom of expression, freedom of speech. It feels a little like friends of mine who grew up in Eastern Europe, USSR feeling. There is, and if you notice that their art was always stuff that was because of a need to survive. So this is a long way of saying that my interest in it was that you get only one or two opportunities of these things in your career to have a part of. And while I'm selling this thing, I'm going to say it doesn't mean it's the best thing in the world. It means that it's better than that. It's the most valid. You know, the best thing in the world, maybe, I don't know, we went and saw the vampire thing.
The Lost
Boys.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It was like, blew everyone's socks off. Did that piece need to be made? Hell no. That's the point of it. You know, and we all love that.
Right.
Is it better than anything that I've done? Probably. I mean, I don't know if like you're measuring it, it's like certainly louder. And you know, but the point becomes after a while is like the best thing in the world that's made, if on another plane, is a pass-fail thing. And 99% of art fails it, which is, does this have to be made? Is this expressing something necessary? And it's not sensational. It's not loud. There's no vampires. There's no like, not a lot of dancing. And it goes under the radar. And you see that in literature, and you see that in music, and you see Led Zeppelin songs that couldn't get played on the radio, and they just keep going, keep going, keep going. So I'm going to say that she's got that Led Zeppelin chick going. But no, it's a thing that needed to be there. That's a really long answer, but that's pretty much all I ever really want to say about this.
That's interesting. So Lindsay, like, have you heard that before? Is in the way that he said that, how does it make you feel to know that, you know, your story, right? I assume this is semi-autobiographical.
Yeah, I think what the things that are true in it are the feelings that I've had that have been sort of stuck in cycles.
Yeah.
So there's some fictionalized moments and characters that are amalgamations of people in my life, but it makes me feel almost relaxed when he says that, because it feels like, oh wow, he gets what I'm feeling inside, that it's really difficult for me to articulate. When people ask me what the show is about, I'm like, do you have an hour and a half? Because I'd have
That's
to.
how long it takes to explain it.
Yeah, because
That's
it's
what it
like,
is.
you know, and so, you know, there are certain log lines that you can say that are in the show, but it is an experience to be had, is what I feel. And each night when the audience comes in, I feel so connected to the audience. And I'm looking, especially at the Soho Playhouse, I'm looking directly in people's eyes. And there's people who I invite into the show in a way. It's not like super, you know, involved in audience participation. They don't have to do anything. They just have to just sort of be there with me.
I think Rodrigo was the front row when I was there too.
Angelo.
Actually. Oh, Angelo. That's
Angelo,
what it was.
yeah. I remember, I'm not
Did
joking.
Angela bring a raincoat? Because that's necessary on the front row.
Oh, yeah. When I've been opening for Ben all over the country and Australia, I also meet someone in the audience, and I remember these people. Like they're significant, and after the show, they write me. They remember it, and it's an experience for them that I feel like is special. And it's, you know, sometimes people scream out, "That's my husband." I'm like, "Great, come on the date too." You know, I mean, who cares? It's theater, and
my favorite was one night. So was it? He's gay, and she goes, "Yes, but this play takes
place before he came out of the closet." No, he said, "I'm gay." Yeah.
This is before you
came out of the closet.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So funny.
Yeah, no, I love that you know, it's telling the story, and it's, you know, it's a memory play. It's a fictional memory play that it skirts the line of being semi-autobiographical. That's what I was getting the feeling about. But then, like, you break the fourth wall quite often, especially when I feel like there will be people who don't know where that line is, of like when to stop talking. They don't get that they're not in on the joke.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there was someone who did that, and then I kind of have to be like, oh, we got a live one, but you sort of like, it's okay. I sort of just like to. My background is improv, so I that excites me. I mean, when someone really wants to be an actor, it's hard because then they start really talking to you, and they think that they're playing a character, and I just want people just to be themselves, because I feel like this is real.
Yeah. Well, it's tough. It's tough because, like, sometimes you're looking at people and you maintain eye contact and you're talking to them. And as an audience member, I'm like, does she want me to respond? Or should I? I guess I'll just nod and give a big smile. And luckily, you talked to the guy in front of me and not me. So I didn't have to worry about that specifically. But I was like, I was spared from the humiliation of acting like myself. But yeah, that's interesting. And like, so Ben, you're up on stage too. You're the leading the band.
Yeah.
A band of 3.
Yep.
Back at home. Yes. And so what made you want to like be a part of it in that capacity too? Because you could have just produced, you could have just musically arranged.
Yeah, I mean, it was very much a one thing led to another sort of vibe. You know, it's like, first of all, I'm helping her with sort of making sure the songs had a little bit of form. In general, that's what she did for herself. But sometimes, I mean, if you haven't written 100 songs, you might not realize, you know, like there are things to help with. And then, you know, I was helping her out on tour with things to do with her piano playing and listen to a monitor and mic technique and all kinds of stuff. And as she started to put it, you know, wanting to put it on the stages, I'm like, well, I can help you out by backing you up. And then it's like, we're going to need another guy. It's like, I think we're going to need another guy and another girl now. And it's just sort of escalated. I mean, I love arranging. And so I've enjoyed arranging this for 3 people to sound like 7.
Mm-hmm.
That's the idea, you know, but ultimately, you know, right now I've scored the violin to be sort of a character for her. The violin is, in my mind, the arrangement is all what the music is about at this point, in the background, in that it's supposed to almost get to the top of the hill and then fall back down the hill again.
Yeah.
So the whole time that violin is aspiring, is always hitting on major sevenths, is always hitting right at places that are unusual to be the ultimate. So everything's penultimate. But ultimately, I think that that her dream of it is exactly right, which is it's probably a female-based string quartet with a little percussion, possibly. But what we've really learned during this is that normally, gosh, I'm not going to get into string quartet arrangement. It won't be a normal string quartet arrangement. It will be a duet partner, which is the violin, or possibly sometimes a male tenor, which would be the cello. And otherwise, it'll be a barbershop trio plus that character. So I'm not going to write it like traditional string quartet stuff.
And I know that you've been asked to be involved with the Broadway scene for years, and I think when we talked about it back in 2019, I asked you about it, and you had said that like you just hadn't found the right thing yet, or what?
I did. Look, this is it.
Yeah, this is it.
Because this is grassroots, which is something that I understand. I like my band, we started out playing small clubs, and I think most bands do, at least from my era. And I just starting at the top has always been like, what is this? I mean, you've got everything to work with, you've got everything to lose, and there's so many moving parts. Well, who are these parts? Like, I didn't choose these parts.
Yeah.
And although that the whole thing is, it comes down to being relaxed about it. And for me, being relaxed about it, I'm finding, is learning things inside out from the script. Now I'm learning from the script. I've had the script in front of me and for the 2 years of its development. And now I'm a little less intimidated by going into that stuff. And I also worked on, Charlie Brown for Peanut stuff for Apple Plus. I've done some movies and musical things. I'm now feeling like I could jump in where we were talking in 2019, but it has to feel like this. Like, it has to feel like Lindsey's work, which is immediate, has to be done. It's not meeting based, and nothing against the big stuff, because I would be thrilled to be part of that. That's some of the greatest talent in the world are in these moving parts of this stuff. I just have to kind of know where I'm landing. Like, I think of these Faces of Death videos from the 90s where I'm getting like, I'm like in a parachute and thinking I'm going to live, and then I go into a crocodile's den. Like, I find it, scary. I don't want to be like that.
Yeah, I remember those videos. That was the birth of the internet, when everything was more Wilder West.
What is the one that the guy lands? It's like he thinks he's parachuted and he's going to land, and he lands exactly in a crocodile pit. Or an alligator pit. I don't know who has an alligator pit, but someone had one.
Someone in Florida.
He landed in one, yeah.
Yeah, someone in Florida.
Mar-a-Lago somewhere.
Yeah. Lindsey, like your acting career as well. I mean, you've done so much on screen now. Like, have you always? You said you started out at improv, but did you do like a bunch of things that were on stage beforehand and whatnot, or?
I mean, no. I mean, when I was in high school, I had a brief stint modeling. That was sort of my foray into acting, because I was sort of discovered on Long Island, and I would just go into New York City by myself, like take the train, and my dad would meet me at Penn Station at McDonald's, and we'd go on my appointments, or I'd pick up my mom teaching in Queens, and then we drive in for one appointment. They'd look through my book and nod, and then I'd leave, and we'd drive like 2 hours home in traffic, and my mom would ask me like 100 questions about what happened, and I'd be like, I don't know. I'm like, when I knew that they didn't like me at all. So I just had this like huge life of just like rejection early on in my life, and then that led to acting in a way. I mean, I went to University of Maryland, didn't study any of those things. Like, I just never thought that I could have a life in the creative arts. There wasn't anyone in my family who did that, and it just didn't seem like an option that was feasible.
Yeah.
I played sports in high school. I think people thought it was more feasible that I would get like somehow play basketball for college, but I suddenly just got bad in 10th grade. No, seriously. No. I bring this. When I was in junior high school, I was on CYO team for my school, and I there was this girl that they kept on talking about, and I was the best one on my team, like from Jericho. And we get to the game, and they're talking about this girl, and it was one on, man to man, and I was guarding her. I was like, she destroyed me, and it was Sue Bird. Yeah. And afterwards I said, I will never ever be as good as that girl. And I stopped playing after that because I was like, what's the point? I was like, turns out she's the best person in the world at basketball. But I know this is like a very long-winded question. You were asking me something else, but then I started acting. I went to college and I graduated.
He asked about Sue Bird. I remember.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely only about Sir Bird.
I started acting post college, just like I had beginner's luck. I moved to New York City and I booked like an episode of Law and Order Special Victims Unit.
Well, yeah,
of course.
You got to
Rite of passage.
Rite of passage here in New York. Yeah.
And then booked The Sopranos and the Third Watch. They're all just the New York shows. And then I moved to LA and and at that time when I first started, I was just doing dramas. I didn't know like even what a comedic performance would look like. But I found that the things that I was booking were kind of parts that were seemingly funny or that I would maybe get because I improvised something. I didn't even know what improvising meant. I just was like, oh, maybe if I just change this line a little bit, it could be fun. And then moved to LA and I just kind of started, I just got lucky. I just started working and I was in acting class and worked a little bit more each year. And then I booked a couple of series and pilots that never got picked up, and then Grace and Frankie, and then just guest starred and hopped around. People would be like, you're so familiar. Did I see you at CVS yesterday? Or were you in my yoga class? So there's a sense that I'm like, no, I'm just probably in your living room, just on some random show. I'm not famous, but you just recognize my face and my voice. And then I actually had one acting job where on a show called Southland. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like a cop show.
Yeah.
Really gritty. And I played Benjamin McKenzie's girlfriend from high school, who's a singer-songwriter. And when I went on the audition, I sang, and I knew that they liked me. And they were like, can you play the piano? I was like, no. And they were like, I was like, but I can play the guitar. I had never picked up a guitar in my whole life, but I just assumed in my head that it would be easier to play the guitar. And so I had 5 lessons in 3 days. And I learned how to play. I was like, can I do So Far Away? They asked me what song I wanted to sing. They asked me if I had any originals. And I felt like such an imposter because I was thinking I have so many friends who are songwriters and why didn't they get this part? And I actually just kind of made something up on the spot, and I worked on it. And I just kind of, I was terrible at guitar, but I learned a little bit just to film the thing. And that would kind of spurred something in my brain that I was like, well, maybe why can't I do this? But then 10 years passed and I was like, I just never thought about it again. And so
on set, were they ever like, wait a second, you can't strum very well?
No, if you watch the episode, I'm not strumming. I'm literally holding the guitar and it looks so stupid. But it was just a club scene and it looks really beautiful. The light is shining and but I remember thinking about being on that stage and feeling like, wow, this feels so good to just be even pretending doing this. And then it wasn't until 20 years later that's maybe too many years, 15 years later that I started really learning.
That's crazy. And then, so picking up the piano, why did you pick that up? Just because to put these songs down for?
Well, I always loved the piano. We had a piano growing up, and I would play this one song over and over again that I just made up, that I heard in my head. And it's very similar to the song Cardboard Boxes. It has which is the last song of the show, that my original song was in the key of C, which I did not know at the time. I just knew what it looked like on the keyboard. I think
that's an easy key. I don't know piano.
Yeah. It's just the basic one, I guess.
Sure.
And then I just kind of moved into a G, and I was doing the same thing that I had done on that song that I heard it in my head for a million years, and then sort of landed on. I made a mistake because I was at a different key, and I was like, "Ooh, that's better." And I just feel like the piano is so beautiful, and it's so just right in front of you, and it's just you're like, it's just exciting because you could just with guitar you have to hold things down and strum and it hurts your fingers, but the piano, it's like all right there. And you're just like, oh, if I press that, it sounds like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no secrets. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the episode. I mean, I think for me, you're right. Like just sitting down, not knowing how to play either very well. It's easier for me to like mimic piano and get something. I'm totally minimizing playing piano, obviously.
No, I think it's easier to get somewhere quicker on the piano.
There you go. Yeah.
As a long-term, thing, it's a lot deeper. But yeah, I think immediately there's so much to think about with a guitar. No one has a good right hand strumming at first and getting a tone. Yeah. That's a very silly answer you gave them.
Well, I'm just thinking the reason I started taking piano lessons was because I was cast in a play where I had to learn how to play a song on the piano.
That's why I learned tap.
Oh, really?
They were like,
okay.
"Can you tap?" I was like, "Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I can." All right, yeah.
And so I found a piano teacher through a friend, and I started going to her. I ended up dropping out of the play because I booked a TV show. But I continued going to. Anytime I was going to her, we were supposed to be working on the piece from the play, and I'd be like, I'm hearing this other thing in my head. And she said, give me your notebook. She's like, you're writing songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, I'm not. She's like, here's a table of contents. Here's Sam I Am. Here's For Greta. Here's Live a Little. You're writing these songs. And I was like, no. And then she would sort of just tell me, maybe come up with like an arpeggio for that song. And I was like, I can't. She's like, yeah, you can. She was just like the most amazing. Her name is Lori. She goes by Lori Xavier and has a website called louderla.com. And it's all about like intuitive learning. She won't call it that. But for me, she was picking up on how I was learning because I didn't understand certain things.
Interesting.
That's just called a good teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she would just be like, we kind of did it backwards. It was like I was showing her what I was playing and then she would show me what that was. And then she's like, you don't need to know what it is. It's fine. And
what about, I mean, we're getting kind of in the weeds of this and I love it. Did you learn the theory and reading music at the same time? Because I can repeat and mimic and be like, oh, okay, so I can do this because I heard it. But then like if you put a piece of paper in front of me with music notes on it, I'm like, okay, every good boy does it D. Okay, D, but is that a sharp or is that a flat? I'm like doing that for every single note and I just can't get past that.
Yeah, no, I couldn't get past that.
Yeah.
So I can't really, I just don't care about sheet music. I'm just not, I'm like, unless I have to do it, I was almost like learning both things at the same time. And then I would be like, oh, that's just like an inversion of an A with a D on the bottom. Oh my God. And when I would first play it, I'd be like, I'm a genius. I'm like, that's the best sound I ever heard in my life. And I just didn't, and it was so exciting. Every new chord I played, I just was amazed. I was like, I couldn't believe that you could play two keys next to each other and it would sort of just be this kind of jazzy type
dissonance.
thing. Yeah, the dissonance. And I was just like, it literally made my whole body just go into like have the chills. Cause I just, you sometimes can't believe that it's you who's pressing those keys.
Yeah.
And that suddenly it's like, and then it's sort of informing what the song is going to be or like how I feel. And then it's almost like it's total coincidence sometimes how a song comes to fruition.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Do either of you still deal with imposter syndrome? Or are you just like, all right, yeah, I'm going to get up here and then I'm kick a stool off the stage and play standing up like a badass? Because that's Ben.
Well, I understand it, but I don't think imposter syndrome is a product of humility. I think it's the opposite. And I think that no one knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, every one thing you learn with anytime you work with someone who you've admired from afar, you might have grown up with their music. Anytime I've ever done that, I see a complete hack before me working, and it's really great. And that's the condition that we're all existing in. So, burdening everyone with, oh, I'm not worthy of being here. It's like, people listen to music, immerse themselves in any kind of art. They don't have to take care of you. So the imposter stuff is like really kind of burdensome. It's like going to an award show and saying, I'm not going to take the award. It's like everyone has to sit through that shit. They don't show up. I don't show up to those things. I don't give a shit. Well, and I'm not going to, but if someone gave me an award and I decided to go, I would go, had the filet mignon and the drink and dress up. And I'd say, yeah, thanks. I'm great. I deserve it. You watch someone like Muhammad Ali, like he was one of the most amazing things about it is this man walked down the street with all these people walking behind him like he was Jesus or something. He didn't burden them with like, I'm not who you think I am. You'll hate me once you know me. All that crap. He's just like, yeah, follow me. That's awesome. You're fine. We're all good. Like you got to take care of people. And I think the imposter syndrome is like, just first of all, you got to understand you're not special. We're all hacks. We're all imposters. You're supposed to be generous. You're doing the world a great favor by staying there. Acting as an imposter, making shit up. That's an imposter. You're making art. You're making shit up. You're an imposter.
Yeah,
Fine.
I love that answer. No, I think that's really good.
But I'm not worthy. I just want to say.
I think for me growing up, I think you always think that you can just kind of do one thing. And I believe strongly that you don't need to learn all the things to make something good.
Yeah. You and I are the same age, Lindsay, and like we were taught. We come from the parents who had one job their entire career. You do your 30 years, you get a gold thing for your desk, and they send you home with an engraved pen, and then you retire. But now, like everything's completely different and changed, and social media, good or bad, it's changed everything because now you can be discovered and put your talent out there, and people are making things.
Or you can make a 4-minute thing that becomes the only thing that anyone ever knows about you. You know
right,
what I mean?
right.
This is kind of interesting.
Yeah, our co-director, Michelle Ross, who's amazing, she was saying that this show feels like the antithesis of AI.
Huh.
And I like that because it's like, it's such a lived experience when you're there, and it's there were no shortcuts for this,
Right.
for reflecting on your life, and just the universal experience of, I think, not thinking you're enough.
Right.
Wanting that it's not too late to change.
Never too late to change.
Or to grow,
Yeah.
and discover new things about yourself and reflect on why you keep repeating the same patterns if they're causing you pain.
Yeah.
And so that's what I love most about sharing the show is that people are reflecting on their own lives, and it's never post opening for him because that's what I'm used to meeting people after that. It's never like, oh, I love this song or I love this story. It's like they want to tell me about their story with their father who is an addict, or the father who is an addict who wants to go home to his girls and be a better dad, or someone who wants to get out of a toxic relationship, or end a toxic friendship, or change careers, learn something new at 60. That's like the most exciting part about this whole journey for me.
That's interesting you brought that up because I hear that so many times from people, and the top of their game here in New York on Broadway, and I say that Broadway is the Olympics of theater. It's just the best of the best in this skill set, and people tell me all the time that they're getting stopped at the stage door, and they didn't. And these people didn't even write the songs. They didn't even create the characters sometimes. I mean, they could originate the character, but they didn't write it. They didn't write the music. They got hired to get put into a job, but they get told the way that they're conveying it, the way that they're presenting it is personal, right? So it works and it lands with the audience. And then the people come up to them and they share their own stories of dealing with death. In the case of Beetlejuice was this crazy movement with the audience just like getting over love and loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially like losing a parent, that kind of thing. But then people would come up and just, if it is something deep that talks about addiction or talks about loss or talks about trauma and some sort, then the strangers just pour their heart out to these paid professionals, and it's, at the stage door. And it's really, I bring this up because what you were saying a second ago is like the songs you're writing, and people are coming up to you after a music concert and telling you the same thing, that like, I can see that evident in what this show is doing too with the songs. It's telling a deep story, and it's connecting with people in a way that has to be told. Ben, back to your point, like this needs to be made right now, and it needs to be out there. And I love that Lindsay, you said it's the antithesis of AI because
Well, that was Michelle Ross. Yeah, but yeah.
Well, brought it up.
What were you gonna say?
Well, it's like, it's like I guess anatomically modern human beings at first, at the end of the day, tribe, clan, getting together and debriefing through stories and through whether it was drums or singing or whatever. It's the method by which we all try to figure out what the hell just happened, And so someone with the gift of being able to encapsulate that's their job to do that, while someone else's gift and job is to do something else. So we've made it so state of the art, in as we progress as a species, and it's so commercialized, and it's understandable that it is, that a lot of it is on steroids, the entertainment part of it. It's kind of like the flavor's there, the nutrition may not always be there, but when the point is there, when it's actually communicating like it's supposed to, people forget the trapeze part and the explosions and all that stuff. They forget that, and they just remember their experience. So that can be achieved at the Soho Playhouse for a couple hundred people, or that can be achieved, at a much fancier place, or at my shows on tour. I mean, but to kind of go back to the theme again, that when someone tells you their life experience and they're almost not even aware that you just did a thing that required craft, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Almost anything you can do in the arts that doesn't show the seams, something draws people in, like, wow, that's colorful, the peacock part of it. Like, wow, he plays piano fast, or there's something going on. But that's not what they come back for the next time. That's not what they remember. It's just part of a calling card of sort.
It's an emotional connection.
Yeah, like there's the talent that people come to see, and that's necessary. But like at the end of the day, the biggest thing that you can do for someone is make them forget all that. And that's, I know, what I love to see. I mean, of course, it's the Olympics, Broadway, theater Olympics, and you're hearing people sing things that are next to impossible to achieve. Like they're just amazing. But that's just so it can reach enough people, bring enough people in, tickets, all that stuff. I mean, what really drilled it into their head was, did that person mean it?
Yeah.
They got hired.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got hired, and they brought it to the stage, and they went home and they clocked out, but they meant it when they did it, even if they didn't. So all those things come together with all those moving parts in something like Broadway. It's amazingly powerful, but it's disappointingly not any more powerful than what someone can do in a one-person show. It just doesn't have the motors and the pulleys and the trapeze and the lights and stuff like that. I enjoy being in that version of it to begin with, to check myself to make sure I'm doing it for all the right reasons.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I think about, like, what excites me is imagining other actresses playing the role, and just experiencing and having to learn how to play the piano for the job, and seeing it from another person's point of view in a way. Like, I can't wait to, that is my hope for it, that it just goes on forever. And
you're going to abuse them all, like learn to play piano. I learned to do
I
it in
just
4
think
years. Get down on your knees.
Well, I think it would just be such a, like, I think most singers they have musicianship in them, so they'd be able to do it. It would just give them the impetus to learn, and they'd feel great about it. And so it would be a really loving, I'm like, my voice teacher and piano coach, Doug Peck, who's amazing, he's like, I'm just imagining there being like the camp of learning how to be live, like, as I, because there's like the Dear Evan Hansen, and so this is my dream, this is what I think about.
Yeah, well, everybody too can relate to, I think, being in some sort of really shitty relationship.
Yeah.
Or some, like in hindsight, everyone's got that boyfriend or girlfriend or partner who's just been like, why didn't I leave them 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago? And because when you're in the middle of it, you don't see it. And Ben, to your point, what you were saying about, you're letting people forget. And I think it gives them perspective. That's what good art does. Good art, full stop, regardless of what it's doing. It's making them experience something they wouldn't otherwise experience, and forgetting the routine of where they're
what
stuck.
art and life have in common is that you don't want to really, your conscious doesn't really want to dwell on what's wrong. You
Mhm.
want to get on with it. So if you've made a song, and we were talking about this the other night with some friends, and you're hearing it come from the speakers, and you're convincing yourself it's right, but your body knows it's wrong.
Mhm.
Like you're tensing up or there's something wrong. People in relationships is the same way. It's like you may not be conscious of it, but I think one thing, I guess this is something you can brag about. She's had a lot of people say they've gotten themselves out of relationships having seen this piece. So while a lot of people are like, like the Barry White school of like these children were, all this whole generation was inspired, was conceived to Barry White music. This could be like kind of a whole new birth control kind of theater where people are getting out of relationships at the end of the show.
Or they're finding, how about the
Instead
positive
of bringing beats to
spin?
get people together, it's like,
Yeah, the positive spin is that they're freeing themselves up to find who they really should be with.
Precisely, yeah, because we don't have a lot of time.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to the episode.
I tapped into a real cliche in the that I would have never thought I would have embraced as part of the score, which is a constant tick-tock.
Yeah.
Constant clock. And it's like, if I could think of like one or two things I would never do, that would be one of them. But like you start to realize so much of this is about, God, we're all sitting here with a really short life and you better get on with it. Like you've got time for a couple cycles, but like you're watching her go, well, now it's a year later and we're doing the same stuff. And you think about your own life and you're like, man, I don't, like then she's frozen her eggs.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
So
yeah.
we're like, she's frozen her eggs. So this time in her life that she might be a mother, that's past too. And how many people can relate to that?
Oh, so
and
many
then you've
now.
got this guy going tick, 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 tick in the background, which is obnoxious as hell to me. But I just felt like, well, the cliche is working.
I like the triangle as the phone too.
I really got to that last night. I finally found my place in that.
Oh, you did?
I'm totally sitting in that triangle part. Every time the phone rings, I get to go ting. And what I realize is then I can go for the phone and then ding for I got it.
I don't even know what's going back on there. I'm just like, okay, like I just get excited that I have a cue that I know what to do. There's something coming. I'm like, oh, okay.
I was trying to use the real phone some, and that kind of like was working in a way, but she couldn't hear it up front, and we don't have a sound check anymore. So, oh well.
But yeah, no, I saw you like hanging it into the snare drum mic or something.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah. I think she doesn't hear it because she's not.
We only have one
it's not in the
monitor up
monitors.
there, yeah. So.
Oh yeah, I heard it fine.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was
good.
in row E.
Okay.
So there you go. No, that's interesting. And then, I mean, the producing side of this, has this been a surprise to you? Because is Ben this the first time you've produced in New York City, right? To get
Why
something.
is the first time I produced anything? I mean, I think again back to we're all hacks, and everything that you're going to do it requires a little bit of ignorance, a little bit of audacity, a little bit of cockiness, all that stuff put together to go do something that's ill-advised. You have to do that. I mean, if you're jumping in, anyone would say, oh, if I knew now, then what I knew today and all that. Well, that's true of this too. It's like we came in, we had some friends going, you are not doing this. We're like, yeah, that's what we're going to do. Well, you shouldn't do it in New York. I'm doing this. What we're doing.
Like, we got to take the temperature. It's like, what do we talk?
Temperature of what?
Temperature. It's like, oh, we got to check the temperature.
Make sure it's safe to go into the water. But
yeah.
I
or just
I
like
do.
to do things. It's like these are kind of like, I don't know. These are words you hear from like maybe executives, producers, agents. It's like, and it's like, well, no. It's like you just gotta do it.
You need to put pieces and music in front of audiences, and if you're lucky, you get to do it enough times to where you find the audience. I'd say. Any piece that's valid will have a massive audience, but no one gets the time with their head above water long enough to find that audience. And I had amazing advice at the very beginning of my career. I was signed to publishing by a guy who was one of the heads of ABC Records, and he had signed Steely Dan, the pair of them, to their publishing and record contract. And he just said the most amazing thing to me. He was like, you're not a freak, are you? He actually said, like, you're not a fucking freak, are you? I was like, I don't know. He goes, well, say you are. Okay, yeah, all right, fine. I was 22 years old. Yeah, sure. Yes, sir, I'm a freak. And he's like, okay, so let's just say that 0.00002 of the people alive will give a shit about what you do, but they love it. And does that sound like a lot? And I'm like, no, it doesn't. He goes, if I found that for you in the United States, you would be selling triple gold or triple platinum or something. It's like, really? Like, wow, okay. He goes, but the trick is I have to find them. He goes, I can't find them if you won't be you. If you're not doing exactly what you do, I will never, ever find that audience for you. I can't create it. You're not smart enough to second guess what people like. You're just not. I'm not. And so the whole trick is you do you, and I've got 5 seconds to get out there and find all the other yous out there. So anybody who's making something, what you have to remember is if it's true, if it is you, you have a huge audience out there. The sad part is not much chance you're going to find it. But if you keep persisting, if you're stubborn enough to keep doing it, so we're putting up in New York City, I'll be very honest. I think that anything that someone does, first of all, you bring in the people who will show up. You know, they may be industry people, friends of yours. You can paper the town. You can do what you want to. They'll show up. Same with the rock gig. You know, my band started out playing for 20, 40 people a night. Out of those 20 or 40 people, 5 of them got it. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot. And so those 5 people come back and they bring back 5 people. So next time you've gone down and those people love it. So you're starting to build the cult of the people who have that planetary genetic commonality with you. So that's what we're doing with this piece. I don't believe musical theater often has the chance to do that. And as a result, they don't have the understanding that that's what it takes, most of them. They put it up, throw it against the wall, and they, to bless their hearts, they only have a certain amount of money, moving parts, conference calls, times, theater space, contracts, lawyers. They only have a certain amount of that stuff. These people doing production and this kind of work, producing this, there are a few Mozarts of it that we know who they are, and they fucking kill this business. And the rest of them know nothing. I could tell that from a mile off. They know more than me. So fine, I know 1/10 nothing. They know all of nothing. Like, we don't know anything. So we decided to just come in, and our attitude is find the audience. And I believe that it's the same with my band. I think we've got, 3/4 filled rooms. The people who love it will kill you for it. The rest of them recognize that there's something probably there. They're not going to come back or tell their friends, and that's just fine. It's just like Steely Dan or me or anything that ever was great. Wow, that was a fucking diatribe.
No, that was great. No, because it goes along again. This is going to be episode 451 probably.
That's a good number.
That's a good number.
Is it prime?
451? I don't know. I'll look it up.
If it's a prime number, I think we're going somewhere. Sounds prime to me.
No.
Shit.
It could be 11 times 41. Yeah, we're fucked. Oh well. But anyway, like in including bonuses, this is close to the 500th episode that will drop in this feed. And then like the main through line from beginning to end that I've heard for now, however many years I've been doing this, is you got to be uniquely you. You have to do what makes you different.
Yeah.
Because if you try to be the next Idina Menzel, you try to be the next Kristen Chenoweth, next Ben Folds, you're not going to get anywhere.
Right.
You got to be you.
You have to be the first you.
Yeah.
And all of your initial assets are seen as liabilities. It's reverse world.
Yep.
Every single time. The thing that is the reason that you will make it is exactly the thing that's holding you back from that.
Yeah.
And that gravity gets thicker and thicker until you break out, and then suddenly it reverses. Almost every single time.
Then you're setting the standard.
Yeah, and that's why it gets more and more disappointing as that becomes the problem. It's like, I don't know, like I see like in politics, like there's always something. Like I think the next thing will probably be, gay president, because people are like, no, can't have that. Oh, can't have that. Remember what happened with even they just chewed up the women and all that. And at some point, that's going to be the reason that it breaks through. Everything is like that.
Yeah. Well, I think where we are now, touching on politics for a second, it's got to swing the other way. We've swung one direction so hard right now. And I mean, like, you're very publicly stepped back from Lincoln Center.
It's going to be
Kennedy Center.
Kennedy Center. Yeah, sorry. Kennedy Center.
Here's the trick. The pendulum is real. Did we break it? Because everything has an end. And I
Not
think
according to
that's
Lindsay.
sobering.
It's all the
Oh, yeah,
beginning is the
Sarah.
end.
That's maybe. I just want to be alive to see the beginning.
Well, so I mean, what do you think about that though? Because in a place where we are, New York especially, going back to producing for a second and tying this in, like we are in a country now that does not support the arts. We're in a country that doesn't care about it. When you look at, like, I'm trying to bring a show to Broadway right now, and I need over
Well, we
6
care
million.
about the wrong part of it. I think we deeply care about it. I think we care about the wrong part of it.
What do you mean?
Well, it's the commercialized part, to just throw a cliche out there.
Yeah.
You know, people, when someone says music's dead, well, you mean music and commerce together are dead. Commerce is not delivering us the music that means something. But if you walk around the street just in 3 blocks here, you're going to hear and see art. If you even go on the stupid old internet and see
Mhm.
what people are making, it's just so disparate and disconnected. And as soon as we get back to the idea that there's a balance where you've got, let's say, Blue Note Records, where the record label is as artistic as the artist, and the album covers were as artistic, people will be pissed off at that too, because it's like, that filter won't accept me into their club. It's like, you suck.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway, sorry. I agree with like half of that. I mean, we don't support the arts publicly, symbolically, or in practicality,
Commercially.
commercially or publicly.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to have a government by the people, of people, all that stuff, and it won't give you 5 cents for NPR, then we're broken in that way. But people are so artistic, something will blow.
Yeah.
Something will blow up.
Something has to.
Yeah. And it'll be because of art.
It's just this weird label that you have to put on, again, tying it all together, to not be a hack, to not feel imposter syndrome. You have to be legitimate in New York with the big budget.
Well, it's amazing what money legitimizes. We were talking about it the other night, and it's like, you know, like this the stupidest music and in the world, because it gets such exposure, you start to feel like maybe it's great. I mean, you have a reverence for it. Like someone said, this won a Grammy, and you're like, wow, that's amazing. And you start to think about it, it's like, I want to, it's terrible, but it's legitimized by money so much,
Yeah.
isn't it? And I think, you know, like there's no middle class anymore, right? And there's no middle class of art either. You're either working class artist, or you're, you know, gauche right at the very top, vulgar ass artist with all this nouveau riche money, and there's nothing in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, and that sucks. That makes it really hard for stuff like what we're doing. We've got a solidly upper middle class piece that we are doing basically as very low class. What she's performing needs to be in a more expensive environment.
Yeah.
Not because it needs the tricks, it just deserves that environment. But you know what? We're willing to go do the busking version of it. But look at the stuff that all that money gets put into. No wonder people have imposter syndrome. I would too if someone put that much money into me. I was like, I'm not worthy.
Well, I mean, Lost Boys that you just saw was, I think, 30-something million capitalization budget just to get to opening night. And
Yeah.
then you need your ticket sales. Yesterday's ticket sales pays for tomorrow's marketing dollars. So it's this vicious cycle that if you don't have enough marketing to pay the tickets, you can't market to get more.
Well, I thought when we walked in, right, first of all, and heard the 200 decibel crash at the top, which was hilarious. I think it was really amazing. I loved that show. I just thought what someone had said to me before. Remember Liz Phair, the singer?
Mhm.
And she'd be like, he knows how to ride the bull. She knows how to ride the bull. I don't know how to ride the bull. Like, those people know how to ride the bull, but I don't know if we know how to ride the bull.
Yeah, we're
but
just doing the
but
best
she
we
knows how to
can.
express what she wants to, and I'm gonna back her.
Yeah,
up.
I can do it anywhere. Like, I could do it anywhere.
Living
the
rooms,
show.
Yeah.
But it deserves a little bit more space. Not a lot, just a little middle class space. But what is that anymore? You're either the massive thing, or you're some little some old theater that's like has more mold spores than
Yeah.
the mold spore count is very high.
Well, that's the New York commercial environment. Like
Yeah.
you have to be the big thing, otherwise economically you can't survive. Your running
Yeah.
costs are too high because of all these reasons that I feel and I've said many times that the government needs to step in and regulate.
yeah,
Somebody needs to get in here
yeah.
and just put a cap on this stuff.
But do you think it's helpful
Tax
that
and spend.
that we've been here before is a pretty kind of cheap show?
Well,
put it up.
yours, yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm like, is that going to be helpful for the future of it?
Oh,
I
sure.
wonder.
Well, definitely,
Sure.
that's a model that people are going to have to embrace and probably are embracing because you have to. But the scale is so odd. This is an idea, like let's say, here's an idea over here, and because everyone agreed on it and someone knew how to ride the bull, that okay idea now gets, like in $10 million thrown at it, as opposed to this is a great idea. It seems like a harder sell. No one knows how to ride the bull. It's not any better or worse, but now it gets a $50,000 budget and people are paying off and working at Chick-fil-A in order to pay for it for the next 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just that kind of discrepancy mirrors culturally, politically, what we're experiencing in the world, which is someone is vacuuming at the top so very hard. And now everyone at the bottom the whole game is to make sure that we're all fighting ourselves. And that's where art comes in, because art brings people together.
Yeah.
And as soon as the bottom class, again, which is everyone, it's us too. It's like, I got more money than I had or my parents had when I was a kid. But when you stack it up against things, everyone that we're running into are more well at the bottom of this, while the top is fed off that. It's just, it's too out of whack.
Yeah.
And then we're complaining about that. Most people are trying to figure out how to get their doctor paid for and make sure that their kids have glasses and they don't die and they have food. It's crazy.
Right.
That's a great place to end. So we've got this show. you need to spend your last $60. Come see.
We've been here before. What is one thing, Lindsay, you want people to walk away from after seeing it?
I want them humming the tunes, one thing, and feeling like they can have the courage to still grow as an adult
I like that.
or at any age.
Yeah. All right. So 3 final questions. Just quick rapid fire, and you can each answer. Lindsay, we'll start with you.
Oh,
Simply,
no.
what motivates you?
How do I answer that quickly? I don't even know. Wait, what motivates me?
For me, it's routine.
Yeah?
Routine motivates me. It's the page turner of the day. I wake up, I'm like, I just want to stay in bed for the rest of my life. I don't fucking care. And then I go, but the coffee seems like a
The
good
coffee.
idea. And then I get up, and after the coffee, it's like, but that looks like a good idea. If you can just find a reason to turn the page, that's the motivation. And eventually where you get is the coffee's not enough. The walk around the block wasn't enough. The getting the work done wasn't enough. You really want to express how you felt about it all.
What motivates me is sharing the piece. Like
Okay.
if I could do that every day, I would be so happy.
You do it every day.
Yeah.
Just sharing yourself, yeah. Okay, Ben, we'll start with you. What advice would you give to your younger self and younger people listening now, starting out down a similar path?
I wouldn't have listened. So nothing. Just I'd say, young Ben, I'm here from the future. You're gonna fuck up a lot. Good luck. I hope you get through it. You're not gonna listen to anything. So enjoy. And by the way, my back hurts. So fuck you.
Lindsay, you have an answer?
Well, it's interesting to me because I think I would have probably really loved like being in music as a kid, but at the same time, I'm grateful that I wasn't, because I don't think I'd have the songs that I have if I didn't discover it until I was 39, 40.
That's right.
Um,
Your path was unique.
Yeah. Love that. All right. So last question. Either of you can start. If you could only see one show for the rest of your life, you can see it as many times as you want, what would you see? Could be TV, movie, Broadway, anything.
It's so funny because Ben and I both are like we don't have favorites of things. And so he's always talking about how he hates favorites.
I don't like favorites, but that's not really what he's asked.
I know. It's like one thing over and over again. Like what's coming to my mind is like a combination of just like my favorite songs from each show. So if I could have a combination of like some songs from Les Mis, some songs from Chorus Line, some songs from Gypsy,
That's the way you
some
order off a
songs from
menu.
Into the Woods. What?
That's the way you order at a restaurant too.
Yeah, I like to have like a little bit of just like just I want to have all the textures and tastes and for my eyes and ears and soul.
And you're deep inside.
I'd be fine just putting on The Wizard of Oz if I had to watch something every day, something like that.
Or The Sound of Music. Yeah.
Something like that kind of works. There's just something sort of right about it because after all the repetition, if there were any false moves in something, that's what I would want to start. And I don't think there are any in certain things like that. Probably quite a few pieces that are like that. But that one I think I could probably deal with, There's no place like home. That's fine. That's good.
I could watch The Holiday, Sleepless in Seattle, Defending Your Life, just like on cycle.
Wow.
And be thrilled.
Sleepless
What about
in
you?
Seattle. Me? Well, normally my answer to that is Rent, because that's what got me into theater.
I love Rent. Rent is so good. I'm sorry that I'm going to say a couple songs from Rent too.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Rent got me into theater because it showed me that I didn't have to be a legit singer. I've never had that type of voice. I didn't have to be your traditional singer and I'd be like, oh, okay, I can do that too. And then so I saw it and I went after it and, took me down a weird path that puts me here now. But that's one of those things. And I think like TV or movie, I don't know why the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, I love watching over and over again, and Back to the Future 2.
Oh, 2. Wow.
2.
Anything 2, that's a hipster answer. That's awesome.
I do live in Brooklyn. So.
I could watch Sex
That's a skinny jeans answer.
Sex in the Cities I could watch over and over again. But I remember when I saw Rent, I had memorized the entire soundtrack. And my parents got me tickets and my best friend Lindsay, and we went. And I forgot my glasses in the car, so my dad ran like 10 blocks where the car was parked, and I was so stressed out. I was sitting in that seat, and it was like the best thing I've ever seen. It was so exciting.
You see it here in town? In New York?
I saw it with the original cast.
Yeah, wow, yeah, that's crazy. Well, some of them are in town. They could come see you. You can put that out there in the world.
I know. I would love. Hello, Rent cast. I mean, Adina Menzel. She's a good friend of one of my friends. Maybe she'll come.
What was the story? You said you grew up on Long Island, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, like, I think Adam Pascal, was it Adam? I think it was Adam. He was in the show. They were trying to find the Mimi. No. Sorry. It was the reverse.
They wanted Ben to audition.
Really? When you, like, your 20s?
No. I was making, I was in my 30s, early 30s. I think they ended up with someone else who was a current rock singer at the time. It was like second or third iteration of the show.
Yeah,
I don't know who it was, but so someone ended up doing it. I just thought I just seen it, and I was like, I don't know if a Southern, not gay, just like I just didn't think I'd have to do too much acting, and I'm not an actor. It's like me going up on stage, I'm in Rent. Like I don't know, Rent's too high. I don't know, like it just felt like an idiot, so I didn't do it.
And you could pay your rent, yeah. So you couldn't relate. I get it.
Well, I still had collection. Well, I didn't have collection agencies come after me more, but I get it.
Well, thank you both so much. Everybody, please go down to the Soho Playhouse and see We've Been Here Before. I saw it 2 days ago. Loved it. I'm gonna come see it again.
Really?
I want to. I really want to.
I think you'll pick up some new things. I think there's like some Easter eggs that people don't realize, but you'll see them the second time.
I've got my triangle down, so you're gonna.
Okay.
This is much better.
Good. I gotta come for your triangle ringing. Yeah.
No, but there's sort of like a beginning and end for all of the characters I talk about. So there's certain things that happen in the beginning that come full circle. That excites me. Stuff like that really tickles me.
I love it. Well, thank you both so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Good to talk to you again.
Take a deep breath, make the world a little colorful.